Welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. The show will begin momentarily.
But why, some say, the moon? Why choose this as our goal? And they may well ask, why climb the highest mountain? Why, 35 years ago, fly the Atlantic? We choose to go to the moon. We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other thing. Not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone, and one we intend to win. We choose to go to the moon.
All right, everyone, welcome to Super Happy Dragon Lucky. This is episode 70F. That is 0x7f. It's the 128th episode. That's just about a half bite of shows. And nothing on here is financial advice, but there might be some technical pieces that you should listen to. This week, on Number Go Up, it's the number of Super Happy Dragon Lucky shows, of course. And we're about to flip to 80. So it's good stuff. It's fun stuff. It's a lot of episodes. I don't know how far back this goes, but it's a couple of years now, right? Every week we're here to give you updates. So just remember how much effort that takes. The first thing we want to do, Dragonchain updates. We have a couple of good things. A new blog post on the 10 questions that businesses should ask prior to selecting a blockchain provider. This is very welcome info. And it basically lays out, based upon a couple of other things we're working on, the big pieces, the big things that we've learned over time that are important to the development and advancement and operation of a product or a service that uses blockchain. How does the system secure data? Can the blockchain be created quickly without specialized infrastructure? What are the key things going in related to the blockchain solution itself? Does it need to connect to other business systems, or is this a standalone new product? Can it be integrated? All of these things. Do go check that out. It can tend to answer a lot of questions for anybody who is wanting to learn about. And I could say this generically about blockchain as a whole, because there are some cases that might point to using other blockchains, for example, Ethereum. But at the same time, if you consider the big picture, most projects, especially most what I would consider real projects or projects that will have a fundamental use case that will last more than a few months, will require some level of integration and upgrade or updating that if you use Dragonchain, you will have a lot more flexibility. You'll have a lot more real capabilities available to you that can expand for the future and let the business pivot or let the business take advantage of opportunities that come up. So that's kind of the big picture. To go check it out, read it, share it, spread it as you can. The next is we wanted to bring up I'm going to bring it up here, an article that was posted about Web3. And there's an interesting bit here that when you read through this, it's a different way to look at it. And in fact, it kind of brought up a lot of new ideas, even for me, on how to describe what we're doing. Effectively, this is an engineer that is a cryptographer that has not been in the, quote unquote crypto world. In fact, it doesn't even like the semantics around the crypto world, being a cryptographer, but decided to get into it and, to evaluate it, to learn more about, what is Web3, knowing what Web 1 was, knowing what Web 2 was or is. And he's gone into it, and it's very, he or she, actually, I don't even know who this person is, but that it was an interesting angle, because across the board, this article talks about what I usually refer to as the dogmatic view on what Web3 is, that it is pure decentralization, and you can't do this and you can't do that, and effectively it's tightening the range of solutions that you can use in a new product or service, if you want to fit into the Web3 world as described on crypto Twitter, as an example. And his point is, he or she looks at multiple parts of what is Web3, and is, calling out that the servers themselves that handle or proxy the requests from the clients, which can't themselves run blockchain nodes, especially Ethereum nodes or other of the full public blockchains, that they require some level of processing or proxy that is handled by a server, which is not run by the individuals, but is typically run very centralized ways. And he went through and he made some NFTs, and he experimented, and there are actually some pretty interesting experiments that he put together. But the thing that really comes up is the fact that his calling out, and he doesn't call it dogmatism. He just says, this isn't true. This isn't true. That's not true. And what I, what I had come out of it, at least in my mind, was that this is just another way to describe what we're already doing at Dragonchain, that we're not going for the dogmatic absolutist view of decentralization. What we want to do, and we made it known forever that we're hybrid. We allow you to have some parts of your solution centralized and some parts decentralized, and we have some defaults already that make sense, which is the fact that by default on Dragonchain, your proofs of what happened are decentralized. So they're totally pushed out into the combination of Bitcoin and Ethereum and anything else that is interchained at the time, along with all of the thousands of DragonNet nodes. And the fact that you can then selectively control, okay, my business data, my very sensitive or proprietary information that I'm using in my business, whether it's about my customers or whether it's about my own processes, is centralized on Dragonchain by default on purpose. That we come out and we say, this is the way for a traditional business system or a system that can be viewed in the traditional way, can still leverage blockchain to provide proof and more. And you can still decentralize that part if you wish. So our angle on this is that these impressions of Web3 and the comparison that this person gives for what Web3 is compared to what Web 2 and Web 1 was are very interesting. And I've even talked about that recently, where a lot of the consolidation into Facebook, Twitter, Google, and YouTube is counter to what the web originally came out and tried to do. It improved quality and improved usability in some areas, which is good. And that Web3 is the next generation of decentralization. And it's going to be a cycle, but the point is, what Dragonchain does fits into this world in a very interesting way. And so I thought we brought it up. We should bring it up. We'll post a link to that article in the description. We'll probably tweet about it, something else. But I just wanted people to look at it because it is another way to look at the reality of what's happening in Web3. areas that can be improved. But frankly, philosophically, it is about the fact that I think Web3 being partially centralized is not a bad thing. The issue in my mind is what should be decentralized, and the control, that is, the keys should be decentralized. And the proof should be decentralized. So you can look back at a history, even if those servers go away. And there are various things that you could point to on NFT art and how it's stored. He calls that out. So there's some very interesting pieces in there. Anyway, go check that out as well. Next, we'll go to Den.Social. So January 2022 LCP proposal phase has begun this morning. The proposal phase ended yesterday morning. It was complete. We had 10 new proposals. I got out of sync there. So go check out the new proposals. There were a couple in there that I at least noticed were good, and I've not seen all of them yet. So I still have to go look. Go check them out. And the January LCP commitment phase is now open. This will run for 1 full week. It will end next Tuesday morning before Super Happy Dragon Lucky. So go in there and commit lore. Research all the layers, get into the discussion on the proposal pages, and then commit your lore. This month, up to 2 new layers will be created. It's the same process we've had for a few months, that the top proposal as ranked by lore committed will be created, and the top proposal by unique voter count will be created. It is often the same layer. So we might only have 1 created. The proposal of each winning layer will receive 10,000 lot provided from Den's own lore. Den will commit also 10,000 lore for each winning layer for future promotions, giveaways, whatever else to expand the communities that are created. Right now, there is approximately 9.2 million lore committed across 134 layer proposals. Go check those out. There's a lot in there, and it'll be interesting to see what takes off this month. Next, we have an open discussion in Den governance to increase the number of layers created monthly. We have a few options in there. The first one is to make it 1 by lore and 2 by unique, so that we at least have one of the, we at least would have 2 created no matter what then. And that's based somewhat on the runners up options that more of those are being created every month. There's also a point of discussion to talk about whether we should expand the runners up to have I think based upon unique voter count to have it open where anything with a certain amount of unique voters could be created under the runners up option also. So just to expand that, and the purpose of that is to get people to not just focus on the horse race of which one is in the lead now, so it'll be created, so you might as well throw all your lore in there, and instead to try to get people to help us actually decide which ones. It's basically an improvement, I think, at least on getting more signal as to which layers should be created next. Next, there is also a new vote resolution that I have to look at when it is due, but let's see here. 17. Is it already complete? It was basically it is complete. Yes, it is complete. It is to make the layer governance issue period 1 week. We found that enough layers, because the interface wasn't all rolled out yet, so not everybody knows when a vote is pending. And we did that on purpose to make sure that the system runs smoothly without tons of activity. That there were a lot of layers that were needing to wait for 2 weeks, even if you had relatively large votes going in, that a lot of them are sitting around 40 to 49%, so they don't resolve, so that you wait 2 weeks. So this is to make it 1 week. I think long run, the vision at least is to let the layers themselves and the layer governance decide that, so they'd be able to, say make it a 3-day window versus a 3-week window. So anyway, go and check that out if you like. I'm not sure when the implementation will happen. Hopefully it'll be soon, and everything will be running on a one week window for now. Next we have, and here I will show this, the governance. Sorry, I had to do this. Okay, so a new governance interface that allows you to see. Speaking of not knowing what's pending, available and pending governance issues is the default. And we have a couple of things we need to fine tune on this, but you can see that Bit by the Coin added a bunch of new tags this morning to Elon Musk and one to sports. So you can go in here and approve various things in those layers that you own. So if you have a lot in a layer and it has a pending governance issue, you can go to this page and immediately see it. Everything else that is either already resolved or that you can't vote on is filtered out. This available and pending governance issues default will give you only the things that you can vote on and have not yet voted on. This quill here will give you governance issues that are proposed by me. So here are all of the governance issues that I've proposed. Whoops. I lost my screen. I'm sorry, guys. Jeez. Let me pull this up. Okay, there we go. And next is historical, which would be everything that you can vote on that has happened over time, even the resolved ones. And then you have one that is all governance issues, right? So this is even, I'll see if I can find some. There are probably some down here that I don't have any lot in. I missed, I'm sure. I know I've seen some before that I can't vote on, right? So that's everything. You can also still filter by last modified versus the created date. So the last modified date, oh, that's interesting. Well, something's not refreshing there, but great. I will show you that created date. Anyway, okay, so that is that. And let's see here. Next up, so go check out the new governance interface. The main point is that instead of having to go into each layer and look for the governance issues, or instead of having to see everything, that this will let you filter them out so you can more quickly participate in those votes. And it's there so that you can be a little lazy if you don't have a lot of time and still get your votes in. Let's see here. Next, Den governance call is now weekly, every Thursday at 3 p.m. noon Pacific. So do check that out, because we're trying to get more discussion around the things coming, so we can get better feedback, so that the proposals can be, other people can make proposals, of course, as well. And tune in also tomorrow for Coffee with Den at 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. And that's a really good show with a lot of good content. Okay, next we're going to go to World Blockchain Roundtable updates. Episode 34 is on Thursday. The topic this week is CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. Do go leave a question or topic while you have 2 days left to do it, on anything about CBDCs, how they can be used, the negatives, the positives, what people might not be thinking about, and also, look at everyone else's replies to see if there's anything in there that you really want to hear answered, and vote it up. The topic was selected by the World Blockchain Roundtable community in a layer governance vote. The entire thing is built around the layer, of course. Last week was request for analysis. This week, CDBC, of course. Next week is health and healthcare. And the last week of January will be journalism. The February topics will be up for a vote. The top 7 nominated. So there's a post already in the layer where you can nominate topics, and we're going to take the top 7 there, throw them back into another governance vote, which will resolve by the end of the month, so that we can have the February topics selected in advance by the community. And these are the people that have already provided topics that have made it onto the show, and all of the hosts. So it's a good thing, because we get to tune the entire show based upon that governance. That vote hopefully will be hopefully we have the 1 week window out in time, and it'll be done before the end of the month either way. Watch and share last week's episode. It was really good content. It was the first time we had run through a bunch of the things that we had laid out from the Roundtable, which is the segments on current events and the 1.5-hour time limit. So go share all of that. There's currently 1,400 views, and the more views it gets in its first week, the more all the participants will get. So that is all of the updates. So we have the 3-question AMA coming up right after this. Okay.
Now, more than ever, our data is at risk. Our supply chains are in jeopardy. Our systems are broken, and businesses feel powerless. Dragonchain gives you a different way, a safer way, a better way, and you have power over your data. Dragonchain gives you proof in an untrusted world. Build now at Dragonchain.com, America's blockchain.
All right, so we refresh live. Let me go down to the questions. Okay, first question, Jacob Wayne. I remember you saying that 1,000 matter is minted each day. 250 of them were for tagging. Maybe the number's wrong. Since tags were introduced post white paper, is there a current breakdown for daily matter payouts somewhere? Because and his note is that on one day he got 100 matter just for downvoting something that was probably spam, probably true. And I think users now remember they can downvote, so it's split up more often. The interesting thing about it is covered in the white paper already. There are a couple of details that were refined since the last white paper update that we actually have notes to go back and add in some implementation detail. But and something else I'll mention after this, very interesting. But I believe that it is 5%. Well, look in the white paper, but I think it's 5% for the upvote and 2.5% for the downvote. So it'd be 50 matter for the upvote eval and 25 for the downvote eval. I think I'm right there. Double check the white paper. That's always the authority. And yet part of the any lost boost matter. So if somebody boosts a post and it does not perform well, they don't get back their 85% of their matter. The portion lost, a portion of it goes into those pools. And so on occasion, those pools will go up and down. I'm with you. I had one day that I think maybe I got 40 something matter, something like that. It was more than should have been possible with the downvote. And I had forgotten that the boost, some of the boost matter comes into it. And literally it's a competition for that. And it could vary by day. There is a chance, especially when we do site-wide governance, that the boost lost matter could be sent to a different pool or used in a different way. But that's the current way that it's implemented, and it's all plugged in that way. So that can be changed. And an interesting piece on the DIN white paper, we do have an update coming. We haven't had time to get in there and really get some of it done, but partially that's also because we're looking to roll out a standard documentation format for behavior systems. So what we're going to do is release that and then roll those standards into the DIN white paper. And the purpose of that is to highlight more readily the actual atomic behaviors that will result in positives or negatives, rewards or penalties on your activity in DIN. And so the point is that you would be able then to go straight to the white paper and look at a particular behavior and know, okay, I know that if I vote up good content, I'm rewarded, but how's it measured? And it would all be listed in that one block that would be obvious to you. And you could read the rest of the white paper, but at least that would refine everything to one point so that you could say, okay, here's the description of the behavior. Here is the vision of it. Here is how it's implemented and anything else. And, algorithms, pseudocode or formulas on exactly how it's calculated. So we're looking to get all of that in, and but it's a process. We have to make sure it's all accurate and we don't break anything when we do it. So and to say other thing too, that we want to make those behavior sections linkable. That is, you might have the PDF of the white paper, but we would also have something set up so that if someone asks a question, let's say an introduce yourself layer, that you could point directly to a certain behavior to say, well, here's how it's calculated. Here's why you're seeing whatever you are. And, they can get all the detail they want and then look at any context around it. So anyway, big picture, it's good stuff. Next, we go to Mike Lee. How about adding a private messaging system inside of DIN? We've already started that. We have the back end, I would say 80% done. There are a couple of features we want to add, but we haven't added them to the back end. The front end was just started, a while ago. It was just started and we moved on to other things that had higher priority at the time. If you had the mobile app, you would have seen there's a button in the layer to go to the layer chat. And I will tell you the vision, although we need to work on the UI. So we got it closer, but it's not quite there. That the vision is that you can go into the layer and you can basically talk directly to people in a group chat that is entirely focused on the layer, with everything on chain, by the way. But posting messages free, various other things are simple. But anytime someone makes a post in that layer or makes a reply to a post in that layer, it shows up inline. So it'd be kind of like being in Slack or Telegram or Discord. And, you have the messages flowing, but occasionally you'll have a little card come up that says, oh, somebody just made a reply to a post. And if you want, you can click directly on it and go straight to the thread and reply and do whatever else. But that way you can see activity. You might even see voting activity in there, but you would see a stream of what's going on in that layer. The second part of it would be direct message, which would be very simple direct messaging. And then the third would be a dynamic group chat that would allow you to create, a short-term group, have a discussion, and either close it out, let it go away, or maybe pay some energy to retain it on chain, right? So things like that will be in there. We have to decide, and this is a key piece of why we've pushed site-wide governance to the top of priority and made it much more accessible, is that we would it's much easier, it's much more appropriate and powerful to have the community help us decide the priorities. Right now, I have vision, but there are other people with different visions on different things, and this would help us make those decisions. So it's coming. Next, Wafted Cranker. I've just downloaded a post that was a rambling piece of drivel. However, it already had about 6,000 votes. I'm guessing they were nearly all upvotes, as the post had several supportive comments. Would that count against me, as I went against the grain? I really wanted to comment myself, not to be negative, just constructive. But I didn't, as I worry I'll be downvoted myself. So there are some interesting pieces, and we've had lots of discussions and even some drama in the past on how all of this works. In the older days, you would actually see the calculated sum total of energy, where you would actually see negative energy and it would upset people, right? So we said, okay, it's actually more appropriate to just show, what you are seeing, and you have it right. What you're seeing is the absolute amount of energy that positive and negative all counts as part of the magnitude of the marketplace around that content. So if if you see something like this and it's 6,000 votes up, I mean, you're if you care about it, and some people don't care about evaluating, right? But if you want to participate in the evaluation market, literally you are trying to determine not whether you think it's great content, but whether that community thinks it's great content. And being a part of that community means, it's a mixed decision there, but that's what you're trying to predict. And if you already think that, well, everybody seems to think this is great content, and I don't, it's an interesting place because you can vote your conscience and say, I think this is bad content. And you are making a prediction, but if the amount of energy you apply should generally be your weight in that decision. So if you think, look, I think I'm against the grain, I think everybody else thinks this is great content, but I don't, your downvote will diminish proportionally the consensus of that piece, which will result in smaller awards for that content, meaning as a community, that content is not as rewarded as it would be, which is probably what you want, that the downvote affects that type of content being not as valuable to the community in whole. So it is a consensus measure itself. The amount of energy you put on it is your bet, and that's what weighs into the evaluation awards. The evaluation awards, by the way, zero out if you go completely against the grain. So they don't take away from your other content-based rewards or anything else. They just take away from the your participation, your rewards in the actual evaluation. So I hopefully that makes sense, but it's very much that it's you're a part of the community, so you are part of that consensus as a single voter, and the amount of energy you put in is totally based upon your guess. It might entirely be that the consensus on that post is down. You don't know, even if there are many positive comments. You might have a lot of people saying, look, I'm not going to even comment on this because I think it's trash. I'm going to vote it down. So a lot of that 6,000 could be downvotes too, in which case you would have voted with the consensus and be rewarded. So it's an interesting thing, and it's a guess. And we have had prior discussion about and in fact, it's in the DIN.gov layer, I do believe. It could be, there's some older that might even be just in the DIN layer, but where we were talking about the potential to expose the full consensus metrics after a certain period, because after a certain period of time, your evaluation diminishes the weight. That is, if you voted on something from a year ago, you would have to put a radical amount of energy into it to get a huge portion of the eval rewards from that consensus. So after a certain period of time, we think that it is reasonable to open up and show people, look, here's the actual consensus. You can still weigh in on it, and it will affect its positioning and its value, like let's say in a search later. But in the meantime, we're not the system is not giving up information in advance where people will like sheep run into a vote, and that's the reason that we also removed or made it an absolute energy amount, so you can see the size of the market instead of seeing that, oh, this is positive or negative already, so that people weren't just coming into a vote and copying what was already there. This basically forces you, as you see, to make the decision based upon what you really think. You can follow trending and things like that and know a little bit about whether a post is going up or down. But it's not exposed. So anyway, there's some interesting things around that. It's a super interesting system the way it works. So that's 3. You guys will all get one lot each in the lair. And let's see here. So we're going to go close out merch. Go to Dragonchain.Store. You still have some time left to get the Celebration JoJo until January 31. Happy New Year, JoJo is the code, 20% off. Also, there are a bunch of new items in the store itself. There's some, new Den merch as an example. A couple of other cool items that we've added. And make sure you watch us again next Tuesday. Watch World Blockchain Roundtable in 2 days on Thursday. Watch the Coffee with Den tomorrow also. Follow Dragonchain, Real Denizens, and JoJo Row. Make sure you share the show. Thanks so much. Bye.
ディズニーが最初に開発し、その後スピンアウトし、オープンソースとなったドラゴンチェーンからドラゴンチェーン商用プラットフォームおよびドラゴンチェーンインキュベーターが登場。まず資産となるデータの保護に重点を置いているドラゴンチェーンプラットフォームを見ていきましょう。サーバーレス構造を用いた拡張性高いプラットフォームは、スマートコントラクトの開発者たちが Java、Python、Node、C# など使い慣れたプログラミング言語で作り込まれるようパッケージ化されています。さらに、すべてのスマートコントラクトが Amazon AWS とその他の機能にフルアクセスできます。次はドラゴンチェーンインキュベーターを見ていきましょう。ドラゴンチェーンインキュベーターはブロックチェーンプロジェクトのローンチに必要なプロセスを標準化しました。では次にドラゴンチェーンの市場を見ていきましょう。暗号通貨、マーケティング、法律、ソフトウェア開発、採用といったあらゆる分野のスペシャリストたちが集まるエコシステムになっています。また、この市場には開発者たちが再利用目的で収益化したビルド済みのスマートコントラクタライブラリーも含まれています。最後に紹介するのがドラゴンチェーンプラットフォームとエコシステム全体のすべてのサービスにアクセスするためのトークン化されたマイクロライセンスです。ブロックチェーンビジネスマジック用に設計されています。あなたも最も安全で柔軟性が高くビジネス仕様のブロックチェーンプラットフォームとエコシステムの一員になれます。10月2日、いよいよドラゴン発売開始。